Hello and welcome. My name is Tom Matthews and I'm headmaster here at St. George's School, and I'm delighted to welcome you to the Senior School and thank you for choosing St. George's and the Senior School. The role of headmaster is an interesting one. I'm not the principal of either the Senior School or the Junior School, so it is the principal responsible for day-to-day operations. So my role is to really work with the principals to ensure that both schools are well run, and then to work really closely with the board and other stakeholders to make sure that the school is moving forward and continuously improving. We work really hard here at St. George's to be mission driven. And our mission, of course, is building fine young men, one boy at a time. And the mission acknowledges the fact that every boy is different, every boy is unique. What works for one boy doesn't necessarily work for another. And similarly, it commits us to a very broad and inclusive education. Our task here is not just academic preparation, it's really to help every boy become the very best human being he's capable of becoming. I'm biased, of course, but I love St. George's and I love the Senior School. The thing I love most is the student body and the fact the boys actually want to be here almost all the time, and they want to make us proud of them. The transition to grade 8 is not always an easy one. The boys have more independence, but they also have to develop more self-reliance and more internal commitment to what they're doing. Growing up is not always an easy process. There'll be ups and downs along the way. What's really important is that you know that we are here to support you and your sons, and ultimately that the boys will learn from these experiences. So once again, thank you, welcome to St. George's, and I look forward to getting to know you and your sons in the year ahead.
Hello, my name's Samantha LeBlanc, head of grade 8 at St. George's School, and welcome to our Senior School campus. Today I'm going to relay some information that will help your son transition from elementary school into our Senior School experience. We have so far had many ways of transitioning the boys as they enter into their high school experience. Last week we met as a group. The boys spent the morning coming in and meeting with our grade 11 students and our grade 8 students through an advisory session where they had the opportunity to ask questions and find out more about the school and the culture of the school. We had a great morning, as you can see by the slide presented. In that student orientation, the boys had the opportunity to meet with their big brothers, so grade 11 students that will be grade 12 students next year, and realize that those grade 12 students are not as scary as Mr. Devonish presents them when he speaks to the boys in grade 7. In September, we will have 2 more opportunities for the grade 8 students to bond before being integrated into the entire school community. On the first day of September, after Labor Day, the 6th of September, the boys will come in and meet with their advisors and meet in a small advisory class where they'll get their schedules and all the information they need to begin school the next day. On the 7th, whereby the grade 9s to 12s will be doing a full school day, our grade 8 boys will be in a modified program where they get to know their core teachers in English, science, and socials and spend the day bonding and learning who their new cohort groups will be. Our grade 8 program supports the boys in a way to meet 2 main criteria. One is, what does it mean to be and to have authentic relationships? And secondly, we try to make sure we're supporting their executive functioning skills, which are weak in the grade 8 year. Some of the ways we do this is by having our Camp Squia in the 2nd week of September. This also helps with the transition phase as they meet as a whole group, including the 100 boys from the junior school as well as the 50 boys who are coming from other schools. This allows the kids in advisor groups to enjoy each other's company in small group settings as well as a whole grade in the outdoors. And they go through our outdoor ed experience. In addition to that, we have a service opportunity that the grade 8s do, which is called Reading Bear. And this is where we partner every single grade 8 boy with a kindergarten child from an at-risk school from Vancouver's east side. It's a literacy mentorship program where they spend two visits a term, so 8 in total, where they go down and they sit and they read with these kids and create relationships. And the idea is that they are learning that service is not about money, but that service is about actually putting time and energy and having relationships be formed in order to give back to their community. Our program also includes an extensive number of co-curriculars for the kids to enjoy. Our clubs program ranges from clubs that are very involved, such as Model UN, and moves through to clubs that are less involved but just as interesting, such as our textile club. There is 3 terms of mandatory co-curricular involvement, 2 of which must be a part of our games program. The only way you're allowed to be excluded from a 3rd term of games program is if you're doing a drama production or a Model UN, if you're part of a club that is extensive in time. Otherwise, we have options of either recreational or competitive teams that the boys may join, both in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd term. Games range from competitive basketball right down to yoga, trying to meet the needs of each kid and the need that they have for their athletic ability. As far as our academics go, our programming and course selection is quite simple for the grade 8s. They have 5 mandatory classes. English, science, and social studies belong to a cohort, and so they have the same students go to each one of those classes together. So they would all go to English, all go to science, and all go to social studies. This helps with the transition coming from a classroom in an elementary school where you have 1 classroom teacher over to the senior school where we have 8. Math is streamed, French is streamed, and our PE program is self-selected streamed. So in the first week of the school, the boys will be able to select which level of competitiveness they want to take. So there's 3 levels of competitiveness. So if you're very competitive, you would just self-select that stream, etc. Our elective courses are quite broad, and they are distinctly selected to be hands-on, a creative outlet. So art, band, ceramics, computer studies, creative writing, digital art, is a way for the boys to actually use another part of their brain and give that academic brain a bit of a rest during the day. Our electives fall into 2 blocks, Block D and Block E. And as you choose your course selection, it's important to understand which block is in which. There's a course package available on the parent portal, which is also going to be emailed out to everyone that you can review. So some of the sample choices you might want to do is in Block D, you may select creative writing, band, digital art, and woodwork. And then Block E, you would choose Term 1 band, Term 2 international relations, band, and computer studies. The reason band is there 3 times is it is a full year course. If you take band, you must make sure to include it 3 times, leaving you with 4 choices for an elective in total. Our learning methods. Mr. Sam Johnston is our Director of Learning, and he has presented us with a way of learning, believing that learning is social, that they must learn in an environment that allows them to leverage their collective skills. With the change in our ministry guidelines for next year, the focus will be on skill development and core competencies, using our content to drive the skill building. When students drive their own learning, we find that they are able to dig deeper and care more about the learning that they do. So within our cohort of English, socials, and science, there are several opportunities that we call explorations, where the boys will have the opportunity to dive into an inquiry project using questions to guide their research. The core competencies for St. George's are critical inquiry, creative problem solving, communication, identity, perspective, and agency. One other part or component of learning at St. George's is learning with technology. So we learn with technology, and we use technology the same way we might use a pencil and a paper. The recommended devices are on the PowerPoint here, as well as you can see those online. We also use Canvas as our learning software platform, whereby all the teachers are expected to have syllabus and course planning and calendar dates uploaded. So the boys will be using Canvas quite regularly to find out what work they have and what they've missed if they miss a day, and it's their responsibility to make sure that they are on that platform regularly, keeping abreast of all the work they have. Our Associate Principal of Student Life is Mr. Lee. He oversees our entire student life program, which includes our head of grades. We have a head of grade at each level, grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, and grade 12. It includes our 3 school counselors. Each advisor group is assigned to a school counselor, therefore each student is assigned to a school counselor. In grade 11, they are assigned a university counselor, which is separate from our regular school counselors. We have a learning support team who supports our students who have any special requirements in their learning. Our advisor group is run through the head of grade office, and the advisor is there as a support person, a mechanism for the boys who have any questions or need to share any information or have anybody support them in any issues that they may have. And then, of course, we have our subject teachers who you can directly inquire about questions. However, we do really recommend that is the students who work individually with our subject teachers. And then, of course, we have our student health services, which is quite extensive. So what is a boy of character? We have 6 core values that are very integral to everything we do here at the school. Decisions are made based on these values. Our program is based on these values, and we expect that the boys will rise to the occasion of being in line with these values in the choices that they make every day. Now, saying that, we do also know that kids make mistakes and make mistakes often, and that's a part of learning, and that's part of growing. And our philosophy when we deal with issues of mistake is that it's an opportunity for character growth. So if your son, and perhaps your son will not be the one to come through either my office or Mr. Lee's office, makes an error in judgment at any point in time, that would be how we dealt with it, thinking of the boy's character growth first. Which brings me to our code of conduct. We have a very thorough code of conduct that is reviewed annually by our students in their first week of advisor group. As you will see, there is a component related to technology and how we use technology. My favorite metaphor is that how you would be expected to present yourself and interact with people in the hallways is the same expectation that we have for you when you're working online. Another question that often comes to us is the way you present yourself on weekends. Do we have any impact? Does that have any impact on you as a St. George's boy? And as a St. George's boy, you are expected to carry yourself as a St. George's student 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Finally, what is it that you need to do? You need to lend your son your frontal lobe. Science shows that the brain, the front part of our brain that helps with executive functioning, organization, prioritization, time management, all those pieces that kind of get us running through the day, doesn't fully develop in the male brain until the age of 27. So your 12, 13-year-old son has a long way to go before that's completely developed. So it's really important that we don't just expect him to be able to do it all at once, but that we actually give him some support and you lend him your frontal lobe. Now, of course, there's a spectrum there, and some kids are much more capable in that area than others. Help him get organized before he comes to school next year. So I highly recommend 2 binders, a day 1 and a day 2 binder. We are on a day 1, day 2 schedule that rotates. And so he will never have the same class 2 days in a row, so therefore having the 2 binders helps him to organize those classes and alleviate some of the weight that might be carried in a backpack. Build a weekly homework schedule for him. So it is your role as the parent to create structures at home that allow him to do what he needs to do. I've had students talk about freedom, but freedom that isn't structured becomes freedom that doesn't allow for success. So actually having an hour of time where he is in front with his computer and whatever he needs to do work, no cell phones, turning off iMessage, making sure there are no distractions. When you and I went to school, we had a piece of paper and a pen. We had no distractions. We need to make sure that we are giving the same opportunity to these kids. Get him a haircut. A lot of the boys, especially from the junior school, I notice have very long hair. At the school here, we expect hair to be behind the ears and off of the collar. So please make sure he presents himself on day 1 with a nice haircut. Create and manage a routine before and after school. So again, similar to the homework schedule, just make sure that you're helping him get organized or giving him some functions to get organized before and after school. And then finally, do not buy his uniform until August. There will be massive growth that occurs over the summer, and while the school store is happy to exchange sizes, I highly recommend that you just wait until the end of August so that he doesn't come to school with pants that are 2 inches too short for him. That's black belt socks, gray socks, and polished shoes. He needs you now, more now than ever before. We have a tendency to feel that once our kids come into high school that we can just drop them and let them succeed and fail as they will on their own, which I agree with. Failure is a great place or great thing to do, and grade 8 is a great time to do it. However, we must make sure that we are there to guide him, that we are there to guide and not judge as he makes mistakes and makes decisions. He needs your presence, whether that be that you're just in the house for him or with him while he's doing his work, but he does need a parent's presence. That adult attachment is still very important at this stage. Thank you very much, and I look forward to meeting each and every one of you, maybe not all at the same time, but in some time over the next year.
Hello, my name is Max Fryby, and I've been to the school since grade 1, and I'm now in grade 8. So my biggest fear for coming to the school has probably been if I can make good connections with the teachers and kind of get to know them. Because when I was in the junior school, the teachers were all nice, and I was kind of scared that now that I'm going to the senior school, they would all be mean and busy and and also the grade 12s and 11s, but it's all good now.
So I started in grade 7 at St. George's, and I came to boarding in grade 8. I actually was quite uncertain of where I would be going because coming from California, I didn't really know what St. George's had to offer for me. I was completely new here, and I was nervous, but I was also excited for what it could possibly offer. And I guess the idea that I might not be comfortable in the environment that I was coming into, that played a part in my decision making. So I'd say that in retrospect, I came to understand that the environment that I was coming to was welcome to any kind of person that it could offer. Really, like, it was open to accepting. It was like the amount of students and staff who care about those around them in St. George's. That really showed me that St. George's was a place that would be welcome to that. So it alleviated my fears almost immediately, and I'm glad to be back in a place where I'm welcome.
It's not very hard. Well, it is pretty hard to juggle the sports and your outside sports and academics, but if you can set it up and if you can get a schedule for every week with the time that sets you up and what your dates are and what time you have that works, that's what I did, and it really allowed me to juggle it well, because I ski on the weekends, so I'm a competitive skier. So I don't have much time to do homework on the weekends, and then also I have sports after school, and then I also practice piano, so that takes an hour 4 times a week, and then I have lessons. So it's with all these different things that there are, and then academics. And now that we're in the senior school and it's at least 45 minutes of homework every day, it works, and I'm sure in whatever situation you're in, it does work. It's just you need to be able to know when and where you're going to do what you are, because it separates everything and it gives you time to focus on the different things. And if you can get in bed at a good time, and then the next morning you'll be up ready for the next day and have everything in control, which really helps.
Well, in general, I'd say that students have to balance exactly what they're dealing with in school, based on, of course, what they have in terms of academics, what they have in terms of sports choices, and what they have in terms of other extracurricular involvements. For me, particularly, I am part of boarding, so that plays a huge role in my life at the school. I've always enjoyed living in the house, and it's always been, of course, a second home to me. And I constantly balance that, of course, with sports choices and with my involvement in the school's theater program. And really, I would advise that, in retrospect, it's best for all students to get involved, but of course keep in mind that they can take care of themselves and really be open to anything, but manage your schedule and be intelligent about it, really. So yeah.
Well, first of all, I would let your children choose their courses, because grade 8 is a time where you can choose and have a lot of fun doing different things and kind of finding new experiences. So my parents let me choose my courses, but it's not like they gave me a brick wall and said, I'm not giving you any advice. Like, they helped me a little bit, and they kind of showed me what they thought, but also what they thought was good for me, and kind of gave me ideas. And I thought that in combining with those two, I was able to do what I like. But also, this term I'm doing Latin, and I've never done anything like that before. So now trying new things, and I find it very interesting, and I'm going to pursue it throughout my school career. So just doing that one idea from my parents, but also kind of realizing what I would like to do, it really helped me find the different courses that I chose for this year. For my parents to let me go, it was a little bit hard for them, because it wasn't as hard because my sister had already gone to high school, so they kind of know what it's like and they have that idea. But I'm sure that if my sister had not gone to high school before me, they would be kind of giving me, they would keep on pushing for me and make it, and they wouldn't really stop me from going in a way. They would, but now I think that because my sister had gone to high school before, they knew the system and they knew how it worked. But for those parents that haven't had a child to go to high school yet, I'm sure it's a hard experience, because it's a lot bigger, and you're now in the final steps to go towards university, and you're kind of learning a lot more, and marks are a lot more important. So, like I said before, I think that for parents it's most important that you have to allow the students or your children to choose what they want to do, and kind of, it's okay if you give them a bit of advice, but you should let them take their own path and have their own ideas and pursue what they want and kind of find out new things, because high school will be a lot easier for them, but also easier for you, and kind of so they can learn a lot more. But then later on, you can still help them, or you can still help them now and keep on giving them what they need and keep on helping them. But it's probably best not to take away things and not to say you have to do certain things. So, because, well, yeah, it's really important.
Really, in retrospect, boarding is all about letting go. And my parents, in the beginning, they definitely did call quite a bit, but they got used to having me as a member of the school, someone who was independent, of course, but also was interconnected with them, and who stayed in touch and always let them know what was going on, of course, and what I could do to show them that I, of course, cared about what was going on at home, but cared about the school environment that I was living in. And so really, I discovered quite a bit about myself just by being alone here. And I also discovered that I could appreciate my home more by being away from it. And every time I come back now, I see that it of course has value in it, and that my parents, of course, have always been caring. But I've appreciated really what St. George's has done for me, and I would say that my experience in boarding and my experience at the school has been much better because I was able to separate myself and really develop independently and discover who I was here. So yeah.
When I was younger, I had never considered design for a career choice because I didn't believe I had the skill. My parents always wanted me to become a doctor, a lawyer, or a businessman, the typical stable job choices that many parents wish for their kids. However, I could never imagine myself doing those kind of jobs. I decided that instead of preemptively deciding what I should be, I focused on what I could be, so I decided to take a risk and try being an artist. There was just something so profound about art that I wanted to try, even though I thought I lacked the ability. In my grade 11 year, I decided to take a risk and join the school's Drawing and Painting 11 class. It was at first difficult. I lacked the ability to have deep conceptual thoughts, but slowly and surely I began improving. I soon found myself loving what I was doing. With some pushing in the right direction from my art teacher, I decided to see if I could make a career out of art. At the beginning of my grade 12 year, I convinced both myself and my parents that I would apply to architecture school. I wasn't exceedingly talented, but with the confidence I gained during my experiences throughout my grade 11 year, I pushed away the doubt and worked to prove my confidence was not a farce. I never once hit an impassable ceiling or immovable force, because I wouldn't let myself be tied down by doubt. I created a portfolio that reflected my journey to becoming an artist, and fortunately, my efforts were rewarded when I was accepted into my Top Choice University Architecture program. All of this is possible because I went to a school like St. George's. What's so amazing about Saints is that it gives students the power to choose. Choose arts, choose athletics, choose academics, business, the list is endless. The important thing is that they have a choice. Bottom line is that a student is at his best when he's being himself. There's no school like Saints that allows a student to do that.
Hello and welcome to St. George's School. I'm Gary Kern, the principal of the senior school, and I want to welcome you and your sons to grade 8. You've probably heard a lot about all of the support that we offer here at the senior school, and one of the things that we're very proud of are the ways that we help encourage and make sure all of our boys are successful. I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach and just communicate to you the importance that we make sure at St. George's we set the bar as high as we can for our boys. We want to pursue excellence, and we expect that our boys are trying to achieve their very best. And so while we have supports, we also make sure that our bar is set as high as we can possibly make it for them. If you come to the senior school in the fall, you're going to notice some remarkable characteristics with some of the boys in grade 11 and 12 especially. One of the things that you're going to notice is this notion that the boys really are leaning in towards the things that they're pursuing. They lean into their classrooms, they lean into their athletics, they lean into their arts, their service. And there's a really big change that happens from grade 7 to grade 11 and grade 12, where our boys start to learn that they're doing these things not just for marks, not just because it pleases the teacher or their parents, but they're doing it because they actually have a genuine interest and they're striving to be their very best. And so it's something that we're very proud of, and we want to ensure that as your boys come to grade 8, that the bar is set as high as we possibly can make it for them. The second thing that you're going to notice that really describes our senior students here is that when you also see them, you're going to see them in social situations, often with the teacher, not always, but often with teachers or with classmates, where they're working together to strive to be their best. And so if you come to my office, you're going to see a number of pictures on the walls, and in all of those pictures you can see just that focus and that engagement that our boys have. I share that with you because as you come into grade 8, you're going to see the big transitions. I do know that you're going to have a significant amount of support for your boys, but I also want to make sure that it's not lost that we're striving and we're pushing our boys to achieve their very best. So welcome to St. George's. I look forward to meeting you in person in the coming year. Thank you.